I was stuck between a big trash bin and a tall green potted plant in the fancy lobby of the most expensive building in Miami. I held a clear plastic box with tiny air holes in it. I kept whispering the name, Mr. Whiskers, very softly, as if my whole life depended on it. And honestly, at that moment, it really felt like it did. "Ma'am," the security guard's voice rang out loudly across the shiny marble floor. "I need you to come out from behind that plant right now." "I'm not behind the plant," I called back. That was technically true. I was more beside it than behind it. "I'm looking for a hamster." For the third time he said, "There is no hamster in this building." "But there really is a hamster in this building," I answered. Chen, who lives in apartment 4B, saw him run through the spinning door early that morning. She tried to catch him with a butterfly net, but she is not very good at it, and she moves a bit slowly. The little hamster belongs to her 8-year-old grandson. That sweet boy had already sent me 14 crying face emojis on my phone. I am not a mean person, so I could not ignore him. "Please, just give me 5 more minutes," I begged. "You need to leave right now," the guard said, "or I am calling the police." I peeked carefully around the tall green plant. The security guard looked very tired. I understood why. I had already been there for 40 minutes, and I felt tired too. Just then, the elevator doors opened with a soft, expensive-sounding chime, and that is when I saw him. He was tall and wore a dark suit that probably cost more money than my old car, back when I still had one. His face was so handsome that for a second I forgot I was supposed to be hunting for a lost hamster. He had a strong jaw and dark hair combed back neatly, like he had just walked out of a fancy perfume commercial. 2 big men in the same black suits stood beside him. They looked strong enough to lift heavy refrigerators for exercise. He stopped walking. His eyes met mine across the wide lobby. I was still crouched low near the plant, holding my empty hamster box. My hair was in a messy bun, and I suddenly noticed there was a bright orange Cheeto dust stain on my shirt. Great. Just perfect. "Mr. Moretti," the security guard said quickly, standing up straighter. "I am sorry, sir. I am taking care of this situation." "I can see that," Mr. Moretti answered. His voice was quiet and calm. He did not look away from me even for a moment. "Who is she?" "A trespasser, sir," the guard replied. "She says she is looking for a hamster." "A hamster?" Mr. Moretti repeated. "Yes, sir." There was a short silence. The 2 big men looked at each other. Mr. Moretti tilted his head a little and kept staring at me as if I were a tricky puzzle he was trying to solve. "Come here," he said softly. It was not really a question. It sounded like an order. Every part of me wanted to grab my plastic box and run straight out the door. But my legs had other ideas. I stood up, brushed down my Cheeto-stained shirt, and walked across the beautiful, expensive marble floor toward him. It felt like I was walking up to receive a big award. When I stopped in front of him, I had to look up high to see his face. His eyes were very dark, almost black, and they had a strong, powerful look that made my stomach feel strange and fluttery. So I spoke, because quiet moments make me nervous, and my mouth sometimes says silly things. "You must be the man who owns this building where hamsters come to begin exciting new adventures." One of the big men made a small choking noise. Mr. Moretti's face stayed the same. "So, what is your name?" he asked. "Chloe," I said, lifting my chin bravely. "Chloe Bennett. And yes, I know this looks completely crazy, but my neighbor's grandson is only 8 years old. His hamster got loose in your big, serious lobby. So, if you could please just give me 5 more minutes." "There is no hamster in my lobby," he said. "With all respect," I replied, "you have only been here for about 30 seconds. I have been searching for almost an hour. Mr. Whiskers is quick and very clever." "Mr. Whiskers?" he repeated. His jaw tightened a tiny bit. I was starting to think that might be his way of almost smiling. "And you believed coming into my building without permission was the smartest way to do this?" he asked. "I did not break in," I explained. "The door was open. That felt like an invitation to me." "That is not really how rules about private property work," he said. "Are you a lawyer?" I asked. "No." "Then both of us are learning something new today," I told him. I crossed my arms, still holding the box carefully at my side. "Look, I know this seems strange, but that little boy has been crying all morning. His mom and dad are at work. Mrs. Chen is 74 years old, and she hurt her back trying to catch Mr. Whiskers with kitchen tongs. I am his only hope right now. Mr. Moretti watched me quietly for a long time. His eyes moved from my face, down to the orange stain on my shirt, and then back up again. I tried hard not to move around nervously. "Marcus," he said without looking away from me, "check the security cameras." One of the big men took out his phone, tapped it a few times, and showed the screen to his boss. Mr. Moretti's face changed just a little. He looked slightly surprised. "She came in at 9:47 this morning," Marcus reported. "She followed something small through the front door. She has been searching the lobby and the first-floor hallway the whole time." "So you are telling me," Mr. Moretti said slowly, "that you have been moving around on your hands and knees in my building for a whole hour, hunting for a hamster?" "Yes," I said. "That is exactly what I have been trying to tell everyone." "And where do you live?" he asked. "In the apartment building across the street, the one with the broken air conditioner and the funny smell that appears every Thursday." I do not know why I told him that extra detail. "Anyway, can we please focus? Mr. Whiskers is probably very scared. He is in a new place with lots of tall men in suits, no offense. He just wants to go back to his safe home." "No offense taken," he said. His mouth curved up just a tiny bit, and suddenly his whole serious face looked warmer. He seemed like someone who might actually have a good sense of humor hidden under his expensive clothes. "What does this hamster look like?" he asked. "Small, brown and white, with very judgmental eyes for such a little animal," I answered. "Judgmental?" he repeated. "You would understand if you ever met him," I said. He gave one quick nod, then turned to the security guard. "Call the maintenance team, tell them to look in the air vents and behind all the big plants, and bring—" He glanced at me again. "What do hamsters like to eat?" "They will eat almost anything," I said, "but Mr. Whiskers really loves carrots." "Bring carrots," Mr. Moretti told the guard. The guard blinked in surprise. "Sir?" "Carrots, David, right now." David hurried away quickly, like someone had asked him to handle a dangerous mission. Mr. Moretti turned back to me. He was standing so close now that I could smell his nice cologne, something like fresh wood with a mysterious, stronger scent mixed in. It smelled expensive and a little bit exciting. "You are going to help me find this hamster," he said. It was not a question. "That is what I have been trying to do all along," I answered. "No, you have been hiding near plants and bothering my security team. Now we will do this the right way." He pointed toward the elevator. "Come on." "Come on where?" I asked. "To the security office. If Mr. Whiskers is really inside this building, the cameras will show us exactly where he went." I paused for a second. Following a stranger into an elevator is usually not a smart idea, but he had already started walking, and the way he moved, so sure of himself, so calm and strong, made me want to go with him. Plus, he had promised to help find the hamster. My old sneakers made squeaky sounds on the shiny floor. "Just so you know," I said as we stepped into the elevator, "this is the strangest Monday I have had in a very long time." He pressed a button. The doors closed gently, and we were surrounded by soft lights and big mirrors. "Miss Bennett," he said quietly, while looking at our reflections, "your Monday is about to become even stranger." The security office looked less like a normal office and more like a high-tech control room from a space movie. There were 12 different screens showing every corner of the building. Mr. Moretti stood very close behind me. I could feel the warmth from his body. He leaned over my shoulder and pointed at one of the screens. "There," he said, his voice right next to my ear. "Bottom right corner, 10:23 in the morning." I looked closely at the slightly blurry video. A small brown shape moved fast, past a pretty water fountain on the second floor. "That is him," I said excitedly. "Mr. Whiskers is going toward the east side of the building." "How do you know it is not just a rat?" he asked. "Rats do not move with that much confidence," I explained, tapping the screen. "That is the walk of a hamster who has a clear plan." "You're a little bit crazy," he said. "You're the one helping me," I pointed out. He made a low sound that might have been a laugh. I felt it gently through my back. Marcus cleared his throat from the doorway. Moretti stood up straight again, creating a more professional space between us. "Sir, we checked the second floor east wing," Marcus said. "No sign of the animal." "Then check it again," Mr. Moretti replied, his voice becoming firmer. "And this time look carefully inside the storage rooms too." Marcus nodded and left right away. I turned around, which brought me face to face with Mr. Moretti. We were close enough that I could see the tiny lines at the corners of his eyes. "You are very good at giving orders and sounding important," I said. "It is part of my job," he answered. "What exactly is your job?" I asked, "besides owning tall buildings and having strong men follow you everywhere?" His face stayed calm, but something moved quickly behind his eyes. "I manage investments," he said. "Uh-huh," I replied. "And I am the Queen of England." "You are not even from Britain," he pointed out. "Exactly," I said with a smile. I leaned back against the desk and crossed my arms. "Look, I do not really care what your real job is. I am only here for the hamster. But your I manage investments answer could use some practice. Next time try something like I do business things. It is more general and sounds less suspicious." He stared at me for a long moment. I could not tell if he felt annoyed or impressed. Maybe a bit of both. "You are not scared of me," he said. "Should I be?" I asked. "Most people are. Have not spent their whole morning crawling around on the floor of your lobby, looking for a hamster named Mr. Whiskers," I said. "When you have already lost most of your dignity, fear does not feel as strong anymore." If you're enjoying this story, kindly do us a favor and subscribe to our channel. It is free and won't cost anything, but it means the world to us. We're just a small channel trying to grow. Thank you, and back to the video. This time he really did almost smile. "That is a fair point." His phone made a buzzing sound. He took it out, looked at the screen, and his whole mood changed. The almost smile disappeared, and his face became cold and serious again. "I need to answer this," he said, already moving toward the door. "Stay here." "What? No," I protested. "We are right in the middle of Operation Hamster Rescue. Marcus will keep looking. You will wait right here." "I do not take orders from you," I told him. He stopped at the doorway and turned back. The look he gave me was so intense that it made me catch my breath. "Chloe," he said firmly, "stay here." Then he was gone. I stood still for about 15 seconds. Waiting quietly is boring, and I have never been very good at obeying rules anyway. So I decided to go find him. I found him on the rooftop terrace. The bright Miami sun was strong up there, shining on white chairs and the clear water of an infinity pool that seemed to go on forever. Mr. Moretti stood near the edge, holding his phone to his ear. His other hand gripped the railing so tightly that his knuckles turned white. "I do not care what Lorenzo thinks he deserves," he was saying, in a low, serious voice. "He went too far this time. Tell him that if he comes near any of my buildings again, he will not live long enough to feel sorry about it." I knew I should leave. This was clearly a private conversation. It might even be dangerous. It was definitely not my business. But then he turned a little, and I saw his face. There was something honest and painful hidden under all that anger. For just 1 second, his shoulders dropped, as if he was carrying something very heavy. Then he straightened up again, back to looking perfectly in control. "I told you to stay downstairs," he said without turning around. "I am not very good at following instructions," I admitted. "You can add that to my list of mistakes." I walked closer, squinting because the sun was so bright. "Are you okay?" "I am fine," he answered. "People only say that when they are actually the opposite of fine," I said gently. He finally looked at me. "You do not know me well enough to say that." "That is true," I agreed. "But I do know what someone looks like when they are trying very hard to hold everything together with pure strength. I am looking at that person right now." For a moment he just stared at me. Then he ran his hand through his perfect hair, making it a little messy. Suddenly he looked younger and more like a real person. "Business problems," he said at last. "Someone is trying to take over part of what belongs to me." "The investment world must be tougher than I imagined," I said. "You have no idea," he replied. "Then tell me about it," I encouraged him. "Teach me." He gave a short laugh, but there was no real happiness in it. "Why? So you can run back home to your broken air conditioner?" "Maybe I am not the kind of person who runs away easily," I said. "Everyone runs away eventually," he answered. He stepped closer. Now we stood together under the hot Miami sun, with the pool sparkling behind us. especially when they understand what kind of world they have stepped into. I am not part of anything, I reminded him. I am only looking for a hamster. You walked into my building. You saw my face. You are now on my security cameras, he said, his voice becoming quieter. You are already part of this, Chloe. The only question is what I am going to do about it. My heart started beating faster, but I stayed right where I was. Is that a threat? It is simply the truth, he said. He was close enough now that I had to tilt my head back to look into his eyes. Do you know who I really am? Mr. Moretti, owner of this building, maybe an investment person, and definitely someone who can be very scary, I answered. My name is Luca Moretti, he said, watching my face carefully. And I do not just manage investments. I lead the Moretti family. We control the ports, the nightclubs, and half of the important buildings in Miami. What other people call investments, I call my territory. Oh, I said softly. So you are, yes, I should be very scared right now. I should be running toward the exit as fast as I can. Instead, the words that came out of my mouth were, does that mean you have people who can find a lost hamster very quickly and efficiently? He blinked once, then he laughed, a real surprise laugh that made his whole face light up in a completely new way. You are unbelievable, he said. I hear that often, I replied with a smile. Look, I do not know anything about your kind of world. I am just a freelance graphic designer who sometimes struggles to buy enough food. The most illegal thing I have ever done is keep a library book for 3 extra months. But that little boy downstairs is waiting for his hamster, and I gave him my promise that I would bring Mr. Whiskers home safely. Kindness to children and animals matters. It shows the kind of heart a person has. Luca shook his head, still smiling a little. You are either the bravest person or the most foolish one I have ever met. Why not both? I asked. His phone buzzed again. He ignored it and kept looking at me with an expression I could not quite understand. If I help you find this hamster, he said slowly, then you will owe me something later. Owe you what? I asked. I have not decided yet, he answered. He reached out. For a moment I thought he might touch my face, but instead he gently picked a small green leaf out of my hair, a little memory from my hiding spot behind the plant. But when the time comes to collect, he added, you do not get to run away. I already told you, I said. I am not the kind of person who runs. We will see about that, he replied. Marcus's voice came through Luca's phone. Sir, we found the small animal. He is on the 3rd floor, stuck behind a vending machine. Luca's eyes never left mine. Send someone to get him. Be very gentle. And Marcus, bring him up to the rooftop. The rooftop, sir? Marcus sounded surprised. You heard me, Luca said. He ended the call. We stood together in the bright Miami sunshine, and I realized that my whole day had completely changed. I had come here only to find a lost hamster. Now I was standing on a beautiful rooftop with a powerful man who was looking at me as if I were the most interesting person he had met in a long time. Your Monday just became a lot stranger, I said quietly. Our Monday, he corrected me. Something in his voice made my stomach do a happy little flip. You are not leaving yet, Chloe. Because I owe you? I asked. Because I am not finished trying to understand you, he said. And honestly, I do not want you to leave either. Mr. Whiskers sat comfortably in my lap on the rooftop, happily eating a small baby carrot, as if he had not just created a huge adventure. We were still on the fancy terrace. I sat on one of the expensive lounge chairs that probably cost more than my whole month's rent. Luca sat across from me, watching the hamster with the same serious focus he probably used when making big business decisions. He is staring at me, Luca said. I warned you, I replied. He has very judgmental eyes. I do not enjoy being judged by a small rodent, he said. Then maybe you should not be in charge of a big criminal family, I teased gently while stroking Mr. Whiskers' soft little head. He is actually quite good at teaching lessons about right and wrong for such a tiny creature. Sometimes the smallest beings remind us to stay kind and honest. Luca's phone kept buzzing again and again for the next 10 minutes. He kept ignoring the calls. That seemed like a risky choice for someone whose work sometimes involved dangerous rivals. You should probably answer that, I suggested. Probably, he agreed, but not right now. He leaned forward, resting his elbows on his knees. Tell me something, Chloe. What were you doing with your life before you started chasing hamsters for your neighbors? That is a strange question, I said. Just humor me, he replied. I sighed and carefully adjusted the hamster in my hands. I was working as a freelance graphic designer. I made logos for small companies. I lived from one paycheck to the next in an old apartment that needs many repairs. I ate cheap noodles 4 nights a week. That was basically my big dream at the time. Life can be hard, but hard times teach us to be strong and creative. Do you have any family? He asked. My parents died in a car accident when I was 22, I told him in a calm voice. I had practiced saying it that way for 8 years. No brothers or sisters. It is just me, Mrs. Chen, her grandson, and Mr. Whiskers now. Family is not always about blood. Sometimes it is the people who care about you every day. That kind of chosen family can heal your heart. Something soft changed in his expression. I am sorry. Do not be sorry, I said. I am really okay. And strangely, sitting here in the warm Miami sun with you and a hamster, I actually mean that. What about your own story? I asked. I guess the Moretti family work has been part of your life for a long time. It is 4th generation, he said. He leaned back, and the sunlight caught the side of his face. My grandfather started everything from nothing. My father made it much bigger. I took over when I was only 26. That is very young, I said. My father was killed, Luca explained. His voice stayed steady, but I saw his jaw tighten. A rival family did it. They believed removing him would destroy our whole operation. Instead, it only made me stronger and more careful. Is that why you always seem so controlled? I asked, because you had to learn to be that way to survive? He looked at me with surprise. How did you know? You carry yourself like someone who believes he cannot afford to fall apart, I said. I gently scratched behind Mr. Whiskers' ears. I recognize that feeling because I do the same thing sometimes. We all have different reasons, but the result can be the same. We learn to protect our hearts. His phone buzzed once more. This time he looked at the screen, and his face became dark again. I need to take care of something, he said. The situation with Lorenzo? I asked. You were listening, he noted. You were talking on an open rooftop, I reminded him. That is basically like speaking in public. I stood up, still holding Mr. Whiskers carefully. Go handle your important family matters. I will take him back to Mrs. Chen. If you're enjoying this story, kindly do us a favor and subscribe to our channel. It is free and won't cost anything, but it means the world to us. We're just a small channel trying to grow. Thank you, and back to the video. Chloe, he said. He stood up too, and suddenly we were close again. I could see little golden specks in his dark eyes. This is not finished. The hamster rescue? I asked. I think it is pretty much done. You know that is not what I mean, he said. My heart felt a complicated mix of feelings. Luca, I cannot become part of your dangerous world. I am still trying to survive in my own simple life. But I have learned that courage does not mean having no fear. It means doing the right thing even when you are afraid. What if I want you to be part of both worlds? He asked. That sounds completely crazy, I said. You don't even know me. I know you spent a whole hour crawling around my building to help a neighbor's little boy, he replied. I know you are not afraid of me, even though most people would be. I know you tell jokes when you feel nervous, and you notice things that other people miss. Those are signs of a good and brave heart. He reached out, and this time he did touch my face gently. His thumb brushed softly across my cheek. I know I have not been able to stop thinking about you since the moment you appeared from behind that plant. It was a ficus, I corrected him with a small smile. Chloe, he said, this is crazy. You are you. I am me. I still have Cheeto dust on my shirt. I do not care about the Cheeto dust, he said. Mr. Whiskers made a tiny squeaking sound right then, as if he wanted to give his own opinion on everything that was happening. Luca's phone buzzed again, even louder this time. He said a quiet swear word and looked at the screen. I have to go right now, he told me. Then go, I said. Come with me, he said suddenly. What? No, I answered. I have to return this hamster and go back to my normal life that does not include whatever dangerous thing you are about to do. It is only a meeting downtown, he explained, but I want you there with me. I need you there. Why? I asked. Because when I walk into that room, I have to be Luca Moretti, the leader of the family, making hard choices that can affect many lives. For the first time in 7 years, I want to return to someone who sees me as simply Luca, a man, not just the boss. Even if that person thinks helping hunt for a hamster was a little silly. I never said it was silly, I told him. I thought it was surprisingly kind. Is that a yes? He asked. Every smart part of my brain told me to say no. But I looked into his eyes and remembered how he had ordered carrots for the hamster, checked the cameras, and sat on the rooftop sharing painful memories with me. Kindness and courage can change everything. I need to return Mr. Whiskers to Mrs. Chen first, I said. His smile appeared suddenly, and it was beautiful. We have a deal. 40 minutes later, I was sitting in the back of a very expensive car, watching the streets of Miami go by through dark windows. Luca sat beside me, speaking quickly in Italian, on his phone to someone who sounded very worried. Marcus was driving. Mr. Whiskers was already safely back with Mrs. Chen. She had hugged me 14 times and promised to cook me delicious dumplings. I was still wearing my Cheeto-stained shirt. You could have changed your clothes, Luca said after he finished his call. This is very special designer Cheeto dust, I joked. Very rare and expensive. You are impossible, he said, but he was smiling. You are the one who invited me, I reminded him. The car stopped in front of a quiet restaurant that had no sign outside. It looked like the kind of place where people wait a whole year to get a table. Luca turned to me with a serious face. When we go inside, he said, stay very close to me. Do not speak to anyone unless I introduce you. And if anything feels wrong, leave right away. Marcus will take you somewhere safe. You are starting to scare me, I admitted. Good, he said. You should feel a little scared. But I promise you, nothing bad will happen to you while I am still breathing. He took my hand. His grip felt strong and sure. We walked inside together. The restaurant was almost empty except for one big table at the back, where 5 men in nice suits waited. They all stood up when they saw Luca. Their faces showed different feelings, some respectful, some calculating. At the head of the table sat a man who made every warning bell in my body ring loudly. Luca, the man said smoothly, you brought a guest. That is unexpected. Lorenzo, Luca replied. His hand held mine a little tighter. We need to talk about staying within your own limits. You have been very strict with your limits lately. The air in the room felt heavy and tense. I could feel every person looking at me, judging and thinking. Who is the girl? Lorenzo asked. She is none of your business, Luca answered. Everything in Miami is my business, Lorenzo said, with a smile that did not reach his eyes, especially when pretty strangers walk into places where they do not belong. I felt Luca become tense beside me. Suddenly I understood clearly, this was not only about buildings or money. It was about power, control, and dangerous games that real people could get hurt in. I had learned that standing up for respect matters, even when it feels scary. Excuse me, I said out loud. I am standing right here. If you want to know who I am, you can ask me directly, instead of talking about me as if I am not even in the room. The whole room became completely quiet. Lorenzo's smile grew wider. She has a strong voice, he said. She has a name, I answered quickly, and she deserves basic respect, which seems to be missing in this room. Luca made a small sound that might have been a laugh he was trying to hold back. Marcus, standing by the door, looked like he was watching something unbelievable happen, slowly. Lorenzo stood up. He was very tall, but I didn't step back. I like her, Lorenzo said, looking at Luca. She has spirit. She is completely off limits, Luca said in a quiet but deadly serious voice. Just like everything else you have been trying to take lately. I have not taken anything that did not already belong to me, Lorenzo replied. The ports did not belong to you, Luca said. The buildings did not belong to you. And she definitely does not belong to you. Lorenzo's face became harder. You are making a big mistake, Moretti, choosing one girl over your family's power. I am not choosing one thing over another, Luca said. His voice cut through the room like a sharp knife. I am telling you that your games stop today. Stay away from my buildings. Stay away from my people. And if you even think about coming near her, You will regret it. You will start a war? Lorenzo asked. I will end one, Luca answered. The silence after that felt frightening. I saw the other men at the table looking at each other. Some of them moved their hands slowly toward their jackets. Then Lorenzo laughed out loud. You have changed, Luca. I remember when you were smart enough not to show any weakness. Caring about someone is not weakness, Luca said. In our world, it may be the only thing that truly matters. It can give us strength we never knew we had. Luca stepped forward and let go of my hand for a moment. What happened next moved very quickly. He spoke fast in Italian. His voice carried power that made strong men look nervous. He was not just threatening, he was making a firm promise, and that felt even more serious. Lorenzo's smile disappeared. He looked at me one last time, then back at Luca. This is not finished, he said. It is. We walked out together into the bright Miami afternoon. I realized I was shaking a little. Are you okay? Luca asked when we reached the car. I just watched you stand up to a dangerous rival while holding my hand, I said. I am the opposite of okay. I turned to face him. You could have been hurt. But I was not, he said. He gently held my face with both hands. His hand stayed steady even though mine were still trembling. You were right about the control. I have been holding everything together for so long that I forgot how it feels to want something more than power and safety. Then you appeared from behind that plant and changed everything. Kindness and courage can open doors we never expected. I really dislike that plant, I said. I am moving it to my penthouse, he replied. You are crazy, I told him. Maybe, he said with a smile. He pulled back just enough to look into my eyes. Come home with me. Not because you owe me anything, not because I am ordering you, but because you want to. I am still wearing a shirt with cheater dust on it, I reminded him. I will buy you as many new shirts as you want, he said. I barely know you, I whispered. Then let me show you who I really am, he answered. I looked at him carefully, at the man who had helped search for a lost hamster, who had shared painful memories on a rooftop, and who had faced danger while protecting me. Sometimes the best things in life begin with small, brave acts of kindness. But I am keeping my own apartment. I would never take that away from you, he promised. And Mrs. Chen can visit any time, I added. Of course, he agreed. And if Mr. Whiskers ever escapes again, you will use all your resources to find him safely, I said. He laughed, naturally. I laughed too, and it felt real and happy and exactly what I needed. You are completely ridiculous. And you are perfect, he said. He kissed me right there in the warm Miami sunshine. It felt like new beginnings, second chances, and the magic of unexpected meetings. When we pulled apart, Marcus was politely looking up at the sky. Take us home, Luca told him, then looked at me, both of us. For the first time in 8 years, I did not feel alone anymore. I had learned that love can find us in the strangest ways and teach us to trust again. 3 months later, Mr. Whiskers escaped once more, but this time everything was different. Luca had helped install special security cameras in Mrs. Chen's apartment. He had a small team ready to help find lost pets. He even gave an order that any small animal seen in his buildings should be treated kindly and returned safely. These small acts showed that even powerful people can choose compassion. I was sitting in his beautiful penthouse, which felt like our home now, designing a logo for one of his honest, legal companies. Luca was on the phone handling some business that was probably not entirely legal, but I had learned not to ask too many questions about that part. We were building something real together, balancing two very different worlds with care and honesty. My phone buzzed. It was Mrs. Chen. He is gone again, she wrote. Same hamster, same trouble. I looked over at Luca. He was already watching me with one eyebrow raised. Do not even say it, I warned him with a smile. I did not say anything, he replied. You were thinking it, I said. I was thinking that I love you, he told me, and that we should probably put a stronger lock on Mrs. Chen's hamster cage. Love means protecting the small things that matter to the people we care about. Those are two very different thoughts, I laughed. I am a man with many sides, he said proudly. He ended his call, walked over, and kissed the top of my head gently. Come on, let us go find our hamster. Our hamster, I repeated happily. As we walked down to the lobby together, passing the same tall ficus plant that had started everything, I thought about how I had only come here looking for a lost hamster. Instead, I found a real home, real love, and important lessons about courage, kindness, and opening your heart to unexpected people. Some meetings in life are meant to happen, even the ones that begin with messy hair, Cheeto dust, and a tiny adventurous hamster. The end. Hey there, wonderful people. Thank you so much for reading Chloe and Luca's fun, exciting story about chasing a hamster and finding love. Did it make you smile? Did you cheer for the girl with the messy shirt and the strong man who learned to show his softer side? If your heart felt warm during their rooftop talk or their brave moment in the restaurant, please subscribe. We post videos like these every day, and know that stories like this remind us that kindness and courage can change lives in beautiful ways. Feel free to think about your own favorite part. If you enjoy romantic tales full of humor, heart, and surprising connections, I hope you will keep reading more stories that celebrate love, bravery, and the magic of unexpected moments. Share the joy with friends or family who need a happy escape. You are the reason fun stories like this exist. Until next time, remember to be kind, stay brave, and maybe check that your pets are safely locked away.